Hi, my name is David Johnson, and this is my conference proposal presentation video. I'm going to look at how we view veterans as non-traditional students, and we'll be looking at the types of special needs that veterans have at the universities and how we deal with them. And I have found over my past 20 plus years that a lot of data can be used not only to present a longitudinal view of veterans at schools, but we can actually use dynamic data every day to help students in special cohorts. And so I'm going to give you a little demonstration or a little look into what we do at the University of Iowa. So let's get right into it here. So if we take a look at just the national figures on student veterans across America, we're looking at only 3% nationally of the college students in America are veterans. You'd think that there would be more, and I think those numbers have risen a little bit since the last two wars that we've been involved in, and with the increase in benefits through the new post 9/11 GI Bill, those numbers have gone up a little bit, but they're still kind of low, which can be a good thing. If you don't have too many wars, you don't want a lot of veterans. In terms of some of what we're seeing nationally, 15.6 to 17.1% of the veterans coming back from the Iraq theater have PTSD. The numbers are slightly lower, like around 11% for Afghani war veterans. And student veterans tend to be older than your traditional freshman class that are coming in. And it's interesting to note that 11% of these student veterans are actually parents. So they have a lot of obligations already, whether they're in married life. Their backgrounds are a lot different than, say, the average 18 or 19-year-old freshman entering into school at the University of Iowa. So these are some of the things that we have to keep in mind. Ethnicity breakdown across America. This comes from the Student Veterans of America. Roughly 30% of the students, veterans in America, are of non-white, so they're in the minority. It's a large chunk. Those numbers will probably increase, obviously, as the Latino Hispanic community continues to rise and is the fastest growing minority in the United States. So when we address issues of veterans issues on students, we're also just by nature targeting more of an ethnically diverse student group. Academic challenges. One of the things that we wanted to look at with student veterans is retention, because retention for veterans is a lot lower than your average non-veteran student. And if you look at this graph over here, there are these two dark lines on the graph. These represent the percentage of retention, two-year retention that normal students, your traditional students, are coming in at. And it's a little bit over 85%. These are University of Iowa numbers that are going to vary with different schools. These numbers represented in the blue lines represent the student retention rate for student veterans at the University of Iowa. And this covers the years of 2015 and 2016. So we're losing veterans after their first year at a greater quantity than we are students that are not veterans. Same can be said with graduation rates. And let me just explain one thing. When we're talking about student veterans, it doesn't make sense to talk about a 4-year graduation rate. And the reason that is we found out in the mid-2000s, like 2005 through 2007, when we had increased deployments of our National Guard students, it artificially throws off the graduation rates. And we found this to be true throughout. Veterans, especially if they're in their Guard or the reserves, get called up for duty. There'll be an interruption within their education. So it doesn't really make sense to compare the 4-year levels. But when we compare the 6-year levels, you're getting closer into an oranges to oranges. And what we found is that traditional students have a 6-year graduation rate of 72.2%, whereas our student veterans are lagging way behind. And that's running, these are UI numbers, and once again, that's running at 54.5%. So we need to increase both the retention and the graduation rates for these cohorts. So one of the things that we've designed using the technology is to have dynamic data going into our systems on a daily basis, and we needed a way to allow our staff members to know when a veteran was in academic trouble. So we've created several dashboards to do that. The first one, we wanted to look at denied admissions, right? Veterans that applied at the University of Iowa and for some reason were denied admissions. This is updated daily, and it will go into several semesters ahead of the time, right? And we can look at veterans that have applied and that were denied for some reason. And then we generally reach out to those veterans and find out why they were denied. Was it a matter of they did not have enough math? Did they score too low on their ACT, SATs? Once we know the reason, we can help offer them a remedy. At the University of Iowa, we generally have 2 or 3 alternatives that they can do. We can get them into a 2-year college like Kirkwood, where they can go ahead and show that they can do this and increase their GPA, and then they can come back and reapply. Or we also have a college at the University of Iowa called the University College, and the admission standards for that college is lower than College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and Businesses. So it allows them to get into the system, and then we can address their deficiencies, be it math, language, whatever, English. We can address that and then get them into the system. So that was our first point, because we were losing about 150 veteran applicants a year, and we thought that was too many. The next thing is, once you get the student into school, one of the earliest signs that a student is going to have trouble is through non-attendance. So what we did is we created a dynamic alert, and within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the session, professors will start annotating those students that have not shown up for class, and that goes into our student information system. These dashboards go out and they look at all of the students who are showing up, and then all of the students that are not attending. And then we break it down into which one of these non-attending students is in a veteran cohort. And once we've identified the student, we've identified the class, and I've grayed out the areas for reasons here, but we can go ahead and contact those students and find out what the issue is. Sometimes they forgot to drop the class, they had it in another class and they just didn't go through the paperwork. Other times they need tutorial assistance, or whatever the reason is, we need to make contact with them so that we can address that issue, and want to do it early before it becomes a problem. A little later on in the semester, we have the midterm grade award notifications. And again, like the missing absences or the absence of attendees, this alerts us to students that are coming in with grades less than a C. So as you can see, these listed here, you can look at the class where they're doing poorly in, and it gives you the midterm grade, and then again, it'll give you the contact. And the sooner we make contact with that student, the sooner we can counsel them as to whether or not they need a tutor, or whether or not they just need to drop that class and try something else. But it's better to catch it early so that it doesn't affect their GPA. So we've created some programs too. We notice that veterans in general have problems in 2 areas: chemistry classes and math classes. So independently, a professor of ours at the University of Iowa, who was also a vet, decided to create something new called a chemistry platoon. And this chemistry platoon went out and reached out to veterans that were in chemistry classes, and they brought them in for tutorial sessions. Now, the difference between this type of tutorial session and, say, a paid tutor is, first of all, it's free. And the professor who is running the tutorial sessions, or these chemistry and math platoons, will generally be an overseer and will jump in when help is needed. But the structure of these platoons are that it's veterans helping veterans. So it's not only veterans that are having problems with chemistry classes, they're veterans that did really well. And these veterans that are doing really well are helping the veterans that are having problems. And we've found that that method works really, really well. That one of the students that you saw in there, who's now a grad student and has helped out with the chemistry platoon, has also initiated the math platoon for us, and he has gotten together with some of our math professors to target some of those early math classes, and it's built on the same principle. Now this year, obviously, we have some further challenges with COVID, so this program has actually been moved online so that they have Zoom sessions. So you don't have quite the personal environment for this, but it is still functioning. And once we pass this COVID problem, it should go back to normal. So that's been a very successful program, and we've been tracking the success rate on that, as Dr. Daly mentioned in there, and we're going to have some longitudinal data. And once we get some more years of data in, we're hoping to provide a proposal to the university so we can get some more funding to expand this into other areas like foreign language and rhetoric classes. Okay. Some of the other programs that we have something called the Military to Civilian Career Program, and this was started several years ago. The idea was we wanted to be able to not only educate student veterans and have them coming out of college with obviously a 4-year degree, but we also wanted to help them kind of direct their degree and their studies to what they wanted to do professionally when they get out of college. So we created a class called Military to Civilian Career Exploration. And what we do is over the summer during the orientation period, we recruit the new incoming veterans to sign up for this course. And this course starts the week before the normal semester starts. We take them out to Lake Okoboji. The Board of Regents owns an area called the Lakeside Labs, and it's basically another campus on the west side of the Lake Okoboji, and it has classrooms and cabins and boats. And we take them out there and we introduce them to career planning. And we have somebody, a retired VA Chapter 31 counselor, come and help them build resumes. It helps them show how to search for federal jobs or whatever they're looking for, internships. But it also creates a wonderful networking opportunity for these new incoming students, because they're coming from all over the United States, from the military. They don't really know anybody yet. And what we have found is that students that get involved in this military to civilian career exploration class tend to become very active in the UIVA here at the University of Iowa. They become leaders and they help out, and they do academically much better than the students that do not. Veterans Chat. This we started this year during COVID, with our offices being closed for much of the year. We still needed a way for veterans to reach out to us, so we created a live Zoom chat, and veterans that need to talk to, whether it's a staff member or another veteran, can simply get on the Zoom chat and talk to somebody, whatever their needs are, whether it's academic, whether it's financial. This will help them get connected. And this has been a really important resource for us. Finally, we have some additional programs that we've created. We created, actually, I shouldn't say we created, one of our student veterans created something called the Veterans Closet for veterans that are nearing the end of their graduation and they're either interviewing for jobs or any type of career movement, and they don't have the clothing, they don't have the resources to get that clothing. We've worked with other stores in the area to provide donations. So we have, you know, suits for our veterans or dresses for our veterans, just nice clothing. We've also offered them resume building and interview counseling as well. And we've worked out some deals with some of the hair salons to give our veterans free haircuts and manicuring, as well as veteran counseling on campus. We are fortunate in that we have a VA hospital that is like right next door to our university. And we have been able to get some of the VA counselors to take time out of their busy work to come to the university and set up one-on-one counseling with veterans that need it. And that can be whether it's mental health issues or marriage or family counseling. They offer a whole array of that. We also have a dental college at the University of Iowa, and once a year the dental college will take out a van and they will offer free dental services to veterans. So we sign up as many veterans as we can to get into that program. Emergency funding. So we know that the VA has never been timely about sending checks, not only to us, the university, for tuition, but for veterans for their living and book stipends and such. So we do have funds set aside for emergency situations. We had an incident where a veteran's car needed some major repair, and she needed that car to get to Iowa so that she could start at the University of Iowa, and we were able to get her the funding to do that. The other piece of the puzzle is that we need to educate our faculty and staff members on veterans themselves, because this is a different cohort, right? They're older, they're coming out of an environment where it's advantageous to speak up, and sometimes they speak up very forcefully. Sometimes we have professors and faculty that are a little bit intimidated by that, but they shouldn't. So one of the things that we do is we offer a class and we talk about veterans in general and how to interact with veterans. And doing that, we've found that we've had a lot less incidences of students complaining about veterans and the way they act in class. So at this point of the presentation, I would open it up for questions. And that is my presentation proposal. So thank you for watching.